Hello, hello. I hope you're having a great day. So, as this video's name suggests, I'm going to talk about my interview experience at Meta, also formerly known as Facebook. So, it was for a front-end engineering internship at London. And yeah, I was preparing for the interview. I couldn't really find many resources on YouTube sharing their experiences while preparing or after the interview. So decided to make this video to maybe help uh, for upcoming internships or for the upcoming technical interviews. Uh, I basically first of all I couldn't pass the technical interview. I struggled a bit. Like it was my first technical interview, but I learned a lot. It was a really educative technical interview. I'm going to cover all of that. Obviously, I'm not gonna tell what I got asked in the question, but I'm going to go over the process. I'm going to go over how I got past the screening phase, which is probably one of the hardest stages, up with the technical interview, in my opinion. So yeah, so basically, how I got the interview, I applied online. Many people also like go over to reach out to recruiters or get recommendations by other engineers. But I just applied online with my resume, and I got an email like probably like a week later saying like they wanted to continue. It was really exciting. Let me also show you my resume. So this is my resume. I kind of like this is kind of like up to date. It's not the same resume I sent, but it's the same structure. Everything is almost the same. I just changed, updated the little things, but this is like the same thing. So as you can see, this is my resume. You can pause the video if you want to check it out in detail. And yeah, these are basically my work experiences, my education, my technical skills and soft skills. I wanted to include soft skills as well because I know in engineering soft skills are really important, and I think the main reason I kind of failed my technical interview was my soft skills. Even though I think I have some good soft skills, I couldn't express them in the interview. I also included this section, this large section, as leadership and community experience. I didn't want to like include them all in the work experience. I wanted to separate like the professional work experience and my community work. Because I have done a ton of community works, and as you might have noticed, I struggled a bit making this resume a one page. And yeah, I used bullet points, and I basically explained what I did in what position. I also put up two personal projects here. If I remember when I was applying, I had like another front end application here, but in my updated versions, like my biggest two projects are two Discord bots. One is Postman Student Helper, which I developed together with Postman, and for their Discord server, and Noodle, which is like my personal project, multi-purpose Discord bot. So like, these are kind of like backend projects, but I wanted to include them. Yeah. Okay. So again, yeah, this is my resume. I included my context here. Let me continue. Let me just go back here. Okay. So you might wonder what was the steps were like in interview. Like I had three stages. The first stage was like I called the email stage. The second one is the phone interview. The third one is the technical interview. I suppose there can be two technical interviews. but I couldn't see it for after the technical interview, sadly. Um, yeah, the email stage is basically the recruiter asked me about the knowledge I possessed. They basically wanted to uh, see my experience. They asked me like how much I know JavaScript on a scale of 1 to 5, how much I know like data structures and algorithms, how much I know, for example, other frameworks, React and etc. These are like basically they basically wanted me to ask, like I said, I know JavaScript probably in 4 out of 5. I know it uh, I know it a lot, but I have not mastered it, etc. Something like that. Um, yeah, the email stage is kind of like that. After the email stage comes the phone interview stage. Um, my phone interview stage actually um, didn't happen, I guess. The recruiter had an emergency meeting when my phone interview, so we delayed it. But the phone interview didn't happen. I just moved on to the technical interview stage. But I checked a lot of phone interview um, topics, or how can I say, ideas at Meta. I've seen that they ask basically like how much JavaScript you know. Again, um, they ask you if you have done any personal projects, or what was the hardest thing you faced while doing a personal project or doing an internship or etc. What was your best experience and things like that. But again, I didn't have the phone interview, so I can't say that I'm 100% correct. And the technical interview phase, everyone is probably wondering about the technical interview phase, because it's, in my opinion, the most stressful one, and I definitely got stressed too much. So I prepared the technical interview using like tools like HackerRank, LeetCode, and CodeWars, and etc. I also checked out videos from like NeetCode. I think it was NeetCode who have done great YouTube videos, great solutions of LeetCode problems. Um, yeah, I love development, but I my I know data structures, but my algorithms might need some work. Anyway, the interview was different in my opinion. Like the interviewer was great. The interviewer engineer was really kind and really friendly. He did everything he can to help me out and make me feel a lot less stressed. And he was again really a great person. And I had a lot of, even though I failed the interview, I had a lot of fun. So the engineers you face are usually great people in the interview, so don't worry about that. They will want you to pass. They try to help you a ton. So the biggest shock for me was that when he asked me the question, it wasn't like a lead code or HackerRank question at all. Like I was prepared for a question like, given a binary tree, can you reverse it? Or not binary tree, given a linked list, can you reverse it? Or can you do, for example, an in order binary tree, both recursively and iteratively, and etc. I was kind of expecting to see a question about and do a data structures implementation of that question, but it wasn't like that. I was pretty shocked, and I couldn't continue on with the question. The question was, again, I cannot say the question. I don't know if I can say the question, so I'm not gonna say the question. But it's like a real world example, real world problem you face when developing a software. In the problem, I used an hash map though. The interviewer helped me when I got stuck. Interviewer asked me, help me Like he said, you need to store a value, and when he said I need to store, I hash map and etc. But it was like you are developing a something, developing a software, developing a feature for an application, and it was really interesting. Actually, I think it's a great, but I was extremely panicked and shocked when I see this kind of question. So you might need to study dot structures, but don't expect to see questions like you see in lead code or HackerRank. Like, I don't know, maybe you can get asked like problems like that, but in my experience, the problem was not like that at all. It was kind of like a real world problem you want to solve in your software. And my problem had three stages. I sadly solved one with the first stage, and at while I was trying to solve the second stage, I sadly run out of time. So be wary of your time. The time passes extremely quickly in the interview. Yeah, the best thing you can do in the interview is probably to communicate well. I miscommunicated a lot. I couldn't ask great questions because the problem was left out. The problem had empty holes in they designed the problem to have like in understandable. It wasn't really understandable. But they probably designed it that way because they wanted you to ask them questions so you can understand the question better and they can see your communication skills. But yeah, you probably might need to study up your data structures. I My question also, like, again, was about a real world problem I faced. But basically you need to be calm and ask your interviewer if you need any help or etc. Don't try not to lose time, and try to do all your tasks in the interview before time runs out. This is the best advice I could give from my experience. And yeah, that's probably it. Um, I don't know if this video is going to be helpful. I hope it's going to be helpful. I failed, but I don't want anyone. I don't. I want others to succeed. So I hope this video helps. And yeah, all right. Hope you enjoyed the video, and goodbye.